Hey guys, I just found a piece of paper that I wrote when I first started dropshipping. I've been going through my stuff, obviously, because I'm packing up, selling everything, trashing everything. At this point, already have. And I took a scan of it because I thought it'd be cool to show you guys. Because I realized that I think most of my viewers, some of my viewers are more established, but most of the people who watch the videos, I think, are new into dropshipping and want to learn about it. So this piece of paper has each item that I sold for my first 30 days, but it's not from my first 30 days since I started posting. It's the first 30 days after the first sale. So it shows my first sale all up until my 18th sale. And it was for the month of December 14th to January 14th. So now I know exactly when I started, which is really cool, right? So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. All right, here's the scan. Let's see, can you guys see all that? Well, I hope so. So I'm just going to go over this. I know my handwriting's kind of weird and all that. My first sale was a fireplace tool set. Keep in mind, when I started doing this, I was manually posting items. I wasn't using any kind of software, any kind of inventory management or any of that, or a Repricer. I was just finding items on HomeDepot.com and posting them to eBay. And I was just like, all right, I just got to keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's what I was doing. So they're all, you're going to see they're all kind of Home Depot style items. But the first one was a fireplace tool set, which is just like, it's a rack, a metal rack near your fireplace to store fireplace related tools, like a little spade for ashes and a little brush and maybe a bellow, that kind of thing. But it was out of stock, so that didn't even matter. So that was my first sale, my out of stock. And then I sold a plumbing crimper. I still remember what these items look like now that I'm looking at this list. And that was my first international sale. So my second sale was a GSP sale. And I sold that for 75 bucks. And after fees and everything, I earned like 10. All right. Then I sold a steel trash can from Home Depot. And this item took forever to ship. So I refunded them my profit. And they eventually got it, but I didn't earn anything from it. Because back then I gave away a bunch of partial refunds, which is something that I've kind of stopped doing. I sold a dimmer switch, and that was my first sale where it was like, okay, now nothing actually went wrong with this. It was for $84. I earned like 19, supposedly. I don't remember if these numbers here, I don't know how accurate these are, because this is all guesstimates, so. Then we had an unpaid item. I guess that shouldn't even be there, but oh no, I skipped the wrench set. I sold a wrench set, and this item, it wasn't available for shipping. So what I did is I purchased it at Home Depot and then shipped it myself. But instead of earning any money, I paid all of the money into the shipping because I paid for it twice. So that was a lesson learned. Then the next sale was an unpaid item. So I was like, oh man, I got excited because it was a $140 sale. I was like, whoa! Then another one of those steel trash cans sold. And this time it arrived on time. So that was a profitable sale. And then began the era of the plastic shelving unit. The plastic shelving unit got me really excited. Because I was like, oh, cool, this sold? That's neat. And I didn't earn much. It wasn't a huge sale, but I was like, whatever. And then a home theater system sold. And I was able to source it from Amazon and earn like over $100 just because it was priced for a higher... that was great. And that led me to post a whole bunch of home theater systems in the future, which I stopped doing because of how high the return rate was, and there were just problems, and I just kind of stopped dealing with it. But my first home theater system sale worked quite well. Then I sold a table for 85 bucks, earned like 20 bucks, and then the plastic shelving unit came back. I sold 3 of them in one day, and I was like, holy crap! That was the first time that an item had sold. Okay, because I'd sold the steel trash can twice. But then this item sold 3 times in one day. I was like, holy crap. And then I waltz over to the Home Depot website, and I'm thinking everything's fine. Because, you know, at this point, at this point, it's already been, here we go. We're going to switch this now that you guys have seen this. Go back over here. Okay. So at this point, I've already sold the item and sourced it and made money from it. So I was like, yeah, now that I'm getting more sales, those are going to go okay. Everything's going to be great. And it was not great because when I went to Home Depot to buy the item, it was only in-store pickup. So I was like, oh shit. I have these like 3 orders I need to fulfill. Uh-oh. And then I looked at the Home Depot website and I was like, well, they were going to charge me $7 for shipping. So it probably won't cost that much, right? If they were going to charge $7, I could probably just ship it. You know, I could just go order them and then put them in the car and ship them. And that isn't how it works. That's when I learned that most of these retailers have a flat shipping fee that they just use to cover most of their items, and it doesn't accurately reflect how much the item is going to cost. Because these plastic shelving units, to give you an impression, when they're installed, they're as tall as I am, and they're about this deep, and about 48 inches wide. So we're talking about a big box. It's not metal, so it's not crazy heavy, but it's a big box. So I go over to Home Depot with my girlfriend at the time, and we're using her car, and it was this old like Corolla. And then we go to the pickup section, and then there's these 2 packages that are basically the size of a person. And that's the moment where I was like, uh-oh. This is going to cost a lot more than $7 to ship. But at this point, I was committed. I was in it. I was like, at this point, whatever, I'm going to do it. So we take them both home, and they barely fit in Caitlin's car. Like, we had to like stuff the trunk with them, and then also in the back, and it was just like, it looked pretty funny. There wasn't much room at all. Like, if they were much bigger, I don't know how we would have gotten them home. But after that, then we went home. And I was like, all right, I got to print a label using eBay because it's going to be cheaper than if I take it to UPS. And so I just basically wrap it in cardboard and tape it. It looked like a zombie box. I just taped the crap out of it so it was a little bit protected. And then I weighed it, and it was about 40 pounds and a huge package. And the label itself cost me like $64 to ship, right? I sold the whole item for $51. So I lost tons of money. I lost more money than the purchase price of the sale on that one. And then the next one gets worse. Because at this point, keep in mind, that was for 1 of the shelving units. And I had 2 of them I needed to ship. And a 3rd order for it, right? And so I was just like, oh, crap. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to deal with packaging that. And at this point, I was in a bad mood. So I took the 2nd unit to the UPS store, and I was like, if I just give it to them, they'll just give me a set fee and pay for it, and then they'll deal with the crap. I don't want to wrap it in cardboard for another 30 minutes. And so they charged me like $80 for it. And so I lost even more money on that one. And then this is the worst part, because at this point, I have these 2 plastic shelving units that I've sold, but I have a 3rd order that I need to fulfill. But because the order happened after the other orders, I didn't order it for store pickup, right? And at this point, I was just like, you know what? Forget this. I'm done for today. I'm going to deal with this tomorrow, right? So I wake up tomorrow morning, and then I go to Home Depot, and I click on plastic shelving unit, and it is available, shipped to home. So for the record, if you're not following, just to be clear, because I was convinced I needed to ship that item out that day and I needed to get it to the customer sooner, I took a $130 loss and dealt with all that stress when the best solution was literally wait and do nothing because it's going to be able to be shipped by Home Depot for $6 tomorrow. It just wasn't now. So that was a lesson. Sometimes if you're stressed and you're freaking out, that's a really good indication that you should go do something else. Dropshipping is intensely emotional at times, and you can like, whew, one day can be completely different than the next, right? So you got to be able to tell when you're getting emotional and you're becoming too invested, or you're paying too much attention, and find something else to distract you. Forget about it for a bit. It's healthy, because most of the time you come back and then the thing that was freaking you out doesn't even faze you at all, you know? So anyway, moving forward, now that we're done with the era of the plastic shelving units, that was a bitch. Next, we had my biggest sale, which was a $518 DeWalt drill bundle. This item was one of the first items that got me starting to think about how that just because it's a $500 sale, that doesn't necessarily mean that you earned a lot of money for that. Because I was looking at the home theater system that I sold, and the home theater system sold for $320, whereas this sold for $520. So it's always almost a $200 difference in price. But the profit from the home theater system was $110, and the profit from the DeWalt drill set was about $140. So the home theater system was much more profitable based on the amount sold. And that's when I first started thinking about that. And I was like, that's something I need to pay attention to in the future. Because like a lot of people pay so much attention to your sales number, but it really doesn't give you an accurate sense of how much money you're making. It really doesn't. And if you focus on that number, it's not very beneficial. It makes you feel good, which is good because then you'll keep going. But all right, so after the DeWalt drill set bundle was also the first time I ever dealt with a PayPal chargeback, because like a month after this, I woke up and my PayPal account was negative $200, and I was like, what the hell just happened? And it's because somebody opened a chargeback against this $518 transaction. So I freaked out, but then I called PayPal and I was like, holy shit, what do I do? And then they were just like, it's okay. You're covered by seller protection because you shipped to the address, and we can release the hold on the money now. And the chargeback will probably be approved in your favor. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was the first time that my world was shattered. My PayPal account was already negative. It was my first month. It was over in my head in the moment, right? But then a call to PayPal just completely resolved the situation, and I never needed to do anything else about it. So that was cool, because I perceived that this was going to be a huge issue. It's one of the things that stressed me out a whole bunch. And then it was just boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, boom, fixed. Like 10 minutes later, I was back in my life without this huge issue to deal with, and I was just like, whoa, that was crazy. The next item I sold was a snow shovel. It was out of stock. So I ordered it from Amazon and lost money. And then the plastic shelving unit sold again. And at this point I was like, oh, that thing where it was unavailable for shipping, that was probably just a temporary thing. And it looks like it being available for shipping was really the temporary thing. Because at this point, it was only in-store pickup. And I don't know how I only lost $20 for that one. I must have sourced it from some other website or something. So next was an electric duster for $84. And I ordered a bigger unit, so I didn't I didn't earn any money. And then I sold another shelving unit, and I had more shipping issues with it. That's when I was like, okay, heavy stuff is really stressful. That's when I learned that. So this was my first 30 days once I got my first sale, which was on December 14th. And the last sale here, the shelving unit, was on January 14th of 2016. I think across the board here, I profited. It was something like 400, but I lost over half of it to mistakes. So I earned like $100 or something like that. But it was profit, you know, and it was the first month, and it was just like, All right, cool. That's pretty awesome. Hope that you guys can learn from my mistakes, and have a great one. See ya.